Are we live? We're live. Thank you all for joining us. This is Twist Gaming, where you get to play board games with us. This is our honest review section of our Spotlight stream, where we go over the game we just played, and in this case, that is Spoils of War by Arcane Wonders.
With a big head.
Thank you.
Go away.
Oh, no.
Wrong way.
It's too big.
There we go. Spoils of War by Arcane Wonders.
You just said Spoils of War.
Spoils of War,
That's
yes.
You still
Spoils of
covered the
War by Arcane Wonders. Thank you all for joining us. We just did our Spotlight section of the game, so if you guys want to go and take a look at that, if you haven't done so already, we would appreciate that. We had a good time playing it. Josh won the first round in a landslide. I won the second round in a landslide, and Anne lost in a landslide both times. So first up, what we like to do here is we talk about what we liked about the game, what wasn't our favorite part of the game, and then how we would fix it, how we would change up the game if given the opportunity. So Josh, let's start off with you on what you liked about the game.
Normally start with winner, and you're the last winner.
You were the first winner, though.
All right. So this is a game really based off Liar's Dice, with a little bit of a set collecting mechanic added to it.
Right.
I'm a fan of Liar's Dice,
Mm-hmm.
so I enjoyed the game
Mm-hmm.
because of that. And I kind of destroyed everything in the first round.
Yeah.
Just because that, and then set collecting, I'm like, this is
It's right up your alley.
It's up my alley. And then I just got horrible. So the bad thing about Liar's Dice, and this is with the game, is you get at a point where you're just like, that last person's right, and what I'm going to say is wrong.
Yeah.
There's just nothing I could do to like
Yeah.
make that known.
So I would like to counter that with there was one card that we saw that I believe Anne tried to play, or was it you?
Right.
Where you force the person to increase their
Bet by one.
bet
yes.
by one, which
Yes.
that really throws a monkey wrench into things.
Yes. So yeah, there's a lot of little extra mechanics to kind of switch up how you play Liar's Dice, basically. But I enjoyed it for the game it was. It's a fun filler game. It doesn't take too long.
Doesn't take long to learn at all.
It's very easy to learn. So the base game goes 3 to 5 players,
Mhm.
and then you can throw in another copy of the base game and go up to 10 players.
Oh, okay.
So you can do a
Oh
10
god,
player
with
game.
10 players.
Yeah, it'd be a little. Everyone gets less dice,
But you know less.
so
That's the thing.
you know, like about the same percentage. I don't know.
If it's the same number of dice, you just
I
know
Whatever.
less of the number of total dice rolled.
But no, I like the game. I like little cups are interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
feature.
yeah, it's a nice little feature, and it comes actually in a nice little box. But no, I like the game. I like the unique artifact things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's a variant. I would actually like if we started out with some artifacts, maybe. Because if you get like I did, I got off a poor start. I had no artifacts and I had nothing to help boost where I was.
Yeah.
And I was kind of falling out behind. But that's kind of going with the things I don't like. So I'm gonna save that, and bring it to Matt to talk about what he likes.
Okay. And I know...
Look at that smooth transition. No, your hands are sweating.
So
Try now.
I really enjoyed the game a lot. I did really enjoy the artifacts. I think they added a nice variability, but I'm going to agree with Josh, and I'll save that point for later that I wish there was a little bit more. The set collecting made, it makes sense for what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would have included the artifacts in the set collecting aspect of it. That's just a personal opinion there. But that's neither here nor there. The game, it's very, very simple to learn.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
based off, if you've played Liar's Dice or you've heard of Liar's Dice, it's not exactly hard to pick up.
No.
It's very simple.
It's very simple. This is a very simple game that goes well with Sheriff of Nottingham, which is also Arcane. Like,
Right.
it's the same kind of play style. Like, it's bluffing and that kind of feel.
Light bluffing, calling people out on it,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah. What?
Circle?
It's a heart.
No, she was doing circle.
Circle, circle, dot, dot, and I have my cootie shot?
There
Yes.
you go. But I really did enjoy the game for what it was. I'm going to step on your toes a little bit. I just really love all of the art in the game. And I'm going to let you speak more on that, but every single card is really, really pretty, and I like it.
I do like the art. I like that the artifacts I feel like even if they're not real Viking mythology, Norse mythology items, that they could be, and that they have stories behind them. I really like that in the rulebook, you and I came to kind of a really weird situation with our artifacts, with the talismans, and I like that the answer to that weird,
we thought it was
obscure situation
was
in the rulebook.
I like how our minds did not go to let's check the rulebook for this, because we had basically assumed that that's not going to be answered in the rulebook.
Right.
And
yeah.
lo and behold,
So they
reached out to us midstream and let us know, hey, that's actually covered in the rulebook.
No, I thought that was really cool.
So what I was reading the rulebook, as I looked at the cancel effect thing, I wasn't looking at the copy effect thing, which goes about the cancel. So nothing against the rulebook. That's why I didn't pick it up the first time I looked at the rulebook.
Oh, because you thought that it would make more sense to be in a different section of the rulebook?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just looked at. So there's a whole page of all the artifacts and how their abilities work.
Yeah, okay.
So I was looking at the cancel ability, not the copy ability, and how that works when its card gets canceled. So
no, I absolutely love the artwork too. I think it's cartoony.
But not childish.
It almost reminds me of Morrowind. That kind of, with the artifacts in particular and the items, kind of remind me of like the inventory that you get in Morrowind.
Interesting.
So I thought, or maybe like Skyrim, and that's Skyrim specifically is very Norse.
Yeah, very Nordic.
Yeah.
I find that I would see this in a very, I don't want to say high, like a fantasy book, like a children's fantasy book. Like it's not really cartoony. It's more detailed.
The characters, I feel like with the art. Okay, I feel like with the art, the characters here are a little bit more cartoony
than the items.
I'd
have to agree with you on that for sure.
The chick is awesome. I love her. She's muscular. She's awesome.
Overall, I'd say that it seemed very balanced. The game itself is not inherently imbalanced. It's who you play with, and then knowing the people.
The bluffing part to it.
Yeah, it's knowing your crowd is I think what would make the game more unbalanced.
I
and
feel
that's
like
with
the
every
set collection aspect to that kind of even helps balance out the bluffing one, because you've got to bluff to get to the set, but if you can pull a one off and get to the set with bluffing poorly or get lucky, you can really swing your position with electing the correct items first.
Well, on top of that, too, you can kind of piggyback on others' success by being the middleman, as you kind of found yourself a lot. Josh and I were calling each other out all the time, especially in the first game.
Yeah.
So I think that's what got you in the back door to get a few random artifacts here and there.
I like the dice cups that come with it.
Yeah, this is a nice touch.
I want to say when I was at BGG, somebody had their own custom dice cup, or maybe they had a custom one, which was leather bound, and that was really cool because it was very appropriate for like the theme of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But these are really cool too. They've got the Norse kind of design on the sides of them.
And you said it's up to 5 players, correct?
Yes,
okay.
Up to 5.
I had a miscount in my head. I'm like, why is there 6 cups? But there's 5. Just brain fart. Thank you, Apu. So, is there anything else you guys want to touch on? Anything about the rules in particular? Were they easy to digest for you?
Yeah, the rules were actually pretty straightforward.
Were they straightforward because you're familiar with Liar's Dice as a game?
They actually had a whole page of explanation of how Liar's Dice, like, the whole what's greater than what. Like, they have a whole example thing, which I skimmed through because I'm like, I know how to play Liar's Dice. I don't need to read this. So it really does have that information there. Some stuff out of order, how I'm normally read a rulebook, but like nothing. I still understood the rules when I finished reading it.
And if you want to...
I want to touch on this.
Okay.
Are you done with your things you like?
Go for it.
Okay. I have ADD, part of ADD is having horrible short-term memory, which makes games like this incredibly difficult for me. As soon as you say your bet, as I'm trying to think of something else,
You forget your bet already.
absolutely you've forgotten your bet.
Yeah.
And it makes it personally, this is a very personal thing. This is a very, if you have ADD, maybe you feel similarly about this kind of that aspect of you. I like the game round because I only had to look at it once or twice. I like that it's got the Conqueror's Hoard and the treasures. That's really nice because you can look right. That was really helpful because if I'm trying to remember how to match sets, it's right there. So I thought
And
that
how
was,
valuable it
yeah,
is, too.
that was incredibly useful information, and it's really pretty. So it was a great use of the. I'm sure this has got a technical term, but the Heidi board is now what it's
The
called.
Heidi board.
The
Yes.
Heidi board.
Yes, the artwork here again is really pretty. So it's nice. It's not something ugly that you're looking at when you're trying to hide your
I would
dice.
like
It's
them
nice.
to officially refer to it as the Heidi board.
The Heidi board. I would have, personally, it would have been nice to have some sort of visual reminder of what the bets were, but that's just me, I think. That's a very, I have poor short-term memory. It had been nice if you were placing your bet and you had to put out some sort of tokens to say what your bet was so that when I was looking, I wouldn't have to ask you 5 times what your bet was.
Understandable, because I found myself a couple times forgetting what my own bet even was.
And it goes by when we're going.
That's the problem, is that it goes by so fast that I don't know that would be a viable
Yeah.
thing to add to the game.
It's just.
But I see your concern there.
It's a very.
That's why we have
niche-
Josh around. To
Very-
remember what everyone
Oh
bet.
no, I didn't remember.
To be fair, I don't think there was ever a point in time when all 3 of us forgot.
Yeah.
So,
Or we just made up what the last bet was. I might have done that once or twice.
logically.
Hey,
yeah.
man, 6 sixes. No, that's it.
So I'd like to step on what Josh, or launch off of what Josh was saying before, how starting with some artifacts would be nice. And I
Yeah.
definitely agree with that. And I think another thing that could have been done also in that vein is having individual character abilities. Just because the characters are just
I'd
a
want
picture.
another girl in the group.
Well, what are the other characters in the box? 'Cause it does up to 5.
There's only 4 characters on here.
I would want 5 characters. I'd want one of them to be another chick, and I'd love the option to play.
Oh, that's
Oh,
true.
there's 5.
Yeah, there's 5, but they show. I think that's this guy here, and then there's another dude over here.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So, I mean, you don't always have to be playing as characters, I guess, but I think unique individual abilities to start the game off with would be a nice touch, just because it's a little slower for the first round, especially if you deal the cards out in a way where the first round, maybe even the first 2 rounds, don't have any artifacts.
Do the characters have names or stories or anything with the characters?
Yes, they do have names. Hildar,
Uh-huh.
Leaf, Olaf, and Lance.
Okay.
Okay.
That's all names. Going on that, other things I would have liked. It might have just been since it's a 3-player game.
Mm-hmm.
The penalty for being wrong was really high.
Not getting any treasures.
You get no treasure and you lose gold. Like, I understand, like, maybe, like, oh, you get, like, 1 treasure after everyone's done.
Yeah, that's the first game. I think it's easy to fall behind fast if you're wrong on concurrent turns, because
Yes.
then you kind of start getting in your head, well, I can't bet as much because I can't win as
I don't have the
I
money
don't
to
have
back
the money.
up the bets.
And then you get yourself into a position where even if you do win, you only get 2 instead
Yeah.
of 3 treasures.
I think player count's a big thing of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because the other thing is we only have 3 people, so it's either you're getting challenged, you're challenging someone,
Or you're piggybacking.
or you're
off somebody.
piggybacking off someone.
Mm-hmm.
And the piggyback is a 1/3 chance, where if you're playing a 5-player game, that goes up to three times more likely that you're piggybacking, and then you can actually make somewhat of an informed decision.
Right.
Or if you're getting challenged, you're just like, I hope I'm right because I knew the other person was right enough that So that's what happened to me in the second one. Was Anne said something like, "Yes, I know that number is good, probably most likely."
Mm-hmm.
The next, if I up that one by one, is probably not good anymore. Like I'm just thinking, like
this is why Anne was jumping.
I
saw why you were jumping to that, because then you didn't leave yourself in a position to receive that on your end.
I think I've received it. I remember one instance in particular, sitting there and coming off of you, and you had something, and I was like, damn.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of the strategy of the game, and I was definitely picking up on different ways to play as we were progressing.
That's part of Liar's Dice is that mechanic, but she'll be like, "Oh, 6 4s," and I have 1 4, and I'm like, she probably has 3 4s. I have 1. Matt, on average, should have like 2.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if I go to 7 though, and I know I only have 1,
it's gonna be rough.
It's gonna be rough, and probably get called out, especially if Matt doesn't have many 4s.
Right.
Like, because she's the one calling the 4. So it makes that whole Liar's Dice, but that's Liar's Dice in itself.
Yeah, I think that with 4 people, it would even out a lot better.
Yeah,
in
so
that
I think
aspect.
that. Yeah, and if maybe the loser got to play, it could be a 3-player variant kind of thing. Whatever. I mean, we can play however we want. I mean, we don't have to listen to the rules. Other thing I would have loved. You don't have to. Like,
That's
people
true.
have to, like.
You're not wrong.
If there's a variant that you enjoy more,
Yeah.
you're allowed to do it.
House rules?
House rules.
House rules.
The other thing, I would have loved if the cards had some flavor text.
So,
I did like it on the artifacts, and yes, I would have liked them on the cards for the jewelry and the shields and stuff. And I think that it would have been appropriate here. We recently played a game where I was like, oh, these cards do have flavor text, and each flavor text is different, and that was kind of cool. But I didn't read it because there was so much stuff already on the cards. I forget which game it was, but these cards are like bow, axe, sword. Like, you know what it is. It would have been nice to spruce it up with some flavor text.
I'm going to make an equal and opposite point to that.
Okay.
In that maybe flavor text might have been a little much. I mean, there is empty space on the bottom of the card, so that's not a big deal. I think maybe differentiating just a quick look at the 3 treasure levels would be kind of neat if you had 3 separate artworks for the cards. So, for example, this is a level 1 crown, and this is a level 3 crown, and they're the same crown.
And the dollar value is behind your shoulder.
Right, so that's a 5 and a 2, they go up to 7, that could have been a 1, but I think it would have been kind of cool if you had 3 separate arts.
Designs.
So you had like a very basic looking like tin crown for a level 1 treasure.
I understand why they did, because you're still collecting sets, and you need 4 different. So if you had 4 different looking crowns, that would be harder to tell that.
Understandable. You might have to start getting into iconography with the cards then. Like you have a crown symbol on all the cards.
And then it also adds a ton of artwork to the game.
Right, you're
where
tripling
if
the
you
artwork roughly.
did just a little bit of flavor text.
I want to hear the story about how we got all of this loot and where we got it from, what the battle was.
Understandable.
That would have been neat.
But that doesn't detract from what the game is in itself. It's just, it would have been a nice little cherry on the top, I think, is what we're all getting at here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what are you reading, Josh?
I was reading, there's a little like short
Blurb?
at the beginning, but it's just like the raid's over, like what I said at the beginning.
Okay.
Basically, he already thought of that.
Oh,
No, I just wanted to check that I didn't miss something in that story, which she was asking for or something. I want to make sure I read that right.
understandable.
But that's like a minor thing.
The game played very well.
The game played very well, and I would have loved some
I
more
want that armband.
special abilities or something like just
A little more customization.
customization than what Liar's Dice is by itself, because there is some. I do find there is some flaws with Liar's Dice depending on the number of people you're playing with and stuff like that. So
Right. But no, I agree. Just a little bit of customization and some more flavor, text, or art, whichever one, I think would have really set it over the top for me. But otherwise, I really did enjoy playing the game, and it was a lot of fun.
Metal coins would have been a nice upgrade option for this game.
but this wasn't Kickstarter, just to know. This was straight to retail. This is
So that's got
they didn't do any
its own
kind of
touch.
upsell, and
Yeah.
This would be a fun game to like personalize your collection by getting some like metal coins and leather cups, like you
Yeah,
were
yeah,
saying.
yeah.
That would have
But
been
if
a
it
lot
is
of fun.
if they ever did a premium edition or
That's what I would want to
collector's
see.
I'd be all over that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the artwork is great. The theme runs very nicely all through the game. I think that that's really nice. And there's always something nice about playing a nicely made game. Something with nice art, nice kind of extras. The molded cups are nice. There's definitely something to be said for that.
It's very smooth all the way around. There's no rough edges on it. That's something to really say. There's nothing to catch on where you're playing and you're just like, oh, this or something to that effect. It's just smooth. The game flowed, as you guys all saw in the video, and there was really no hitches on it. I think that definitely says a lot about the game itself.
I think this is, if you like bluffing or liar's dice in general, this is a good game. The set collecting aspect of it is very, I want to say minimal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a big part of getting points and stuff, but like...
It's not a heavy set collecting.
It's not a heavy set collecting thing. It's, all right, I'm going to collect sets and this is what I need to do. I could see getting a little bit more into the strategy of this,
mm-hmm.
and depending on what's on the board, how aggressive you are.
Right. I started to
in the bets say there's stuff I really want on there. I'm going to be really aggressive
with the bets.
With these bets. Not your bets, but like what I'm saying. I'm going to just like go out on the wall and just say this, and just try to make someone call me out or do whatever.
Why I jumped to 9 1s that one time, because and then of course you jump to like 9 4s and there's 12 4s on the dice and it's just like, come on. No, but that's definitely something to pick up on, where your strategy is going to evolve the more you play, and then the more with the people you play with. So that's definitely it adds a lot of replayability.
Yeah, my only worry with the game so far is it seemed like we had 2 runoff winners.
That's true.
Game.
Yeah.
That's my worry. I don't know how.
40, 108 million.
I think both times it was mid to high 40s for the 2 losers, and then the winner got like 140 plus.
I wouldn't necessarily consider myself a loser.
I would.
But we've only played the game twice,
right?
So like a lot of well, this is a first impression review. This is not like we've been playing this game in depth. Yeah, like what we know after 2 games.
So grain of salt. Of course.
Wait. My favorite part of it is when you challenge somebody, you throw down the gauntlet.
No, you just threw down a horn.
You throw down the gauntlet. I like that. It's a simple little touch. It doesn't even say it. It's just that the token is a gauntlet.
Yes.
I thought that was a nice touch.
I like subtle little quirks like that.
Subtle.
All right.
All right. Is there anything else that you guys want to touch on?
Most important question.
Yes.
Would you play it again?
Would you play it again?
I definitely would.
I wouldn't seek it out, but I would definitely play it again if you brought it up.
I have to agree with that sentiment. It's not a game I would ever say no to.
Right.
Okay. I probably agree. I would take this out. Would be interesting, and even if we got a second copy, because it goes up to 10 then.
I'd love to play with this with a bunch of people.
I would love to play this with a bunch of people, having some drinks, and actually like...
Well, just like the theme of the game.
Like the theme of the game.
No,
like
getting a little rowdy,
yeah. It's more like, it maybe even put in real money behind it or something, because it is a gambling game.
Yeah, okay.
I would enjoy that much more. I probably wouldn't do another 3-player game of it, just because of how... I think this scales better with more people.
Right, because each person knows 33% of what's on the board for sure.
Yes.
So
I think doing this with more people will make this a lot more fun and interesting.
Having a Viking party?
Viking party.
That'd be so cool.
All right, anything else?
Maybe we could play a giant game at Origins.
There you go.
Ooh.
Because they'll definitely have 2 copies there. Or they better have 2 copies there. If they don't...
Hey, guess who's not going to Origins?
Anyways,
that guy.
Thank you all for joining us this evening. This was our honest review section of our Spotlight of Spoils of War by Arcane Wonders. Thanks to them for sponsoring this stream and all of this week's streams. So big shout out. We love the game.
The guys at Arcane Wonders are absolutely great. They're very kind, and we really do appreciate them sending the game over.
Yep.
So thank you all for joining us this evening. This is Twist Gaming signing off. Stay tuned for our full sign off in just a second. But I'm Matt.
I'm Ian.
I'm Josh.
I'm the disembodied voice of TP. I always forget.
Good night, everyone, and thank you for joining us.
Good night.